Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to further control the grid layout from the grid itself so that you don't have to go through and make adjustments to individual content parts when you want to change the layout of your page. And this is really important if you are sharing content from various different sections of your site or across sites, because you might have a different layout on one page than you do on another, and you don't want an individual cell, right, a content cell affecting a grid on another page. So we're going to pick up where we left off, and we've got our same grid here, and we've got our same 5 parts. But now I'm going to create some structures. So I'm going to go in and edit this grid, and I'm going to take the last 3 parts that I have, and I'm going to move them into their own grid. So I'm going to use the Move All Into feature while I'm on the Contents tab, and I'm just going to move all those into a new grid. So it's going to push those 3 parts down into a grid, and I'm going to actually go in and name this grid. I'm going to call this part 3. So this is in the page I'm on. I've got the 2 HTML parts, and now I've got a grid part. And if you remember, if you look at this grid, it's got the 3 parts in it that I just pushed down. So here's part 1, or part 3, part 4, and part 5. All right, and then I'm going to go back to my grid configuration, and I'm going to alter it. So now I have my 2 items on top that take up 12 columns each, but now I've got this grid, this third thing here, that I want to take up the full 24 columns. So I'm going to say 24. Now, it's here where I would have been stuck before, because I'd be going back into the individual cells on each of these HTML components, and I would be overriding at this level saying, maybe I want this to be 8 columns, all right, or 6. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to control it all the way up here at the grid specification level where I'm setting up the main grid. So now I can come in here and say, okay, I know I've got something here that is a grid, and it has contents, and each thing in its cell I want to take up 8 columns. All right, so I can save it like this, and when I come back and refresh my page, the layout's going to be exactly the same. All right, but now I can even be a little bit more flexible here, and I can come in and edit this, and maybe I don't want it to be 8, 8, and 8, but maybe I want it to be 6, 12, and 6, right? So I've got that flexibility at this level. So this is 24 for the 3 things inside this one grid, right? The whole grid itself is going to take up 24 columns. And when I save it and refresh my page, I've got a new layout. All right, so that's it for Grid Layout Series Part 5. Simple and easy.